Welcome to Controversial and Deep Biblical Breakdown series, sponsored by the Scoring Black Man Podcast. I'm your host, Zadok Israel. I got the good brother, Fred Jackson, aka Brother Yisrael, in the building once again. He come to finish off what he didn't finish the other night. We had technical difficulties. The brother went 4 hours strong on y'all, give you nothing but the precepts. He's back to finish it off, and here he is. Fred Jackson, aka Brother Yisrael, presents part 2, an overview of the tablets of the holy prophets. Brother Yisrael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother. How y'all? Shalom.
Shalom. Happy Sabbath, man. And without further ado, man, you was on part 1. You was bringing in the breakdown of how all the prophets had the same doctrine, and any doctrine that did not go together must be acquitted. You brought out some good information. For all y'all who didn't hear part 1, when this is over with, go click on part 1, watch part 1. Shalom to the good brother K. Judah out there. Anybody who's watching is tuned in early, but the brother Israel, he's going to get right into it. Brother Israel, without further ado, part 2, Controversial and Deep Biblical Breakdown series, sponsored by the Scoring Black Man Podcast. Y'all please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share with family and friends and people like-minded. Part 2, Fred Jackson, aka Brother Yisrael, presents an overview of the tablets of the holy prophets. Brother Yisrael, the floor is yours.
Thank you, brother. Well, the last time I left off, it was actually talking about a chief sovereign of Israel who's also a Levite, and those are the judges. And I don't know if there were too many people who stayed up that late, so I'll just take it back a little bit, where it was talking about brothers who are escaping a wicked master, and how, according to the law, those brothers have every right to, and that their former masters have no right to try to recover them from a rightful or an upright laws that they have escaped to. So I'm gonna start right there, and then I'm gonna continue. This shouldn't be long because, as you know, this is a word tablet, but I don't intend to hold y'all long. But I'm gonna just start right here. However, also within the aforementioned enlightenment, provision is provided for the husbandman and every good man to escape their wicked masters and join an upright ministry of Yah, valiant men all. This was the case with David in the aforementioned scripture. Again, in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 21, verses 1 through 2. In verse 6, it is confirmed. David therefore departed there and escaped to a hiding place. And when his brothers and all his father's family heard it, they went down there to him. And every husbandman that was in distress, and every husbandman that was in debt, and every good man that was discontented, gathered themselves to him, and he became a leader over them. And there were with him about 400 men. When Saul heard that David was acknowledged, and the valiant men with him, now Saul abode in Gibeah with the carpenter in Ramah, having his destruction in his ministry, and all his husbandmen were standing about him. Okay. Abram was also joined by the discontented of Nimrod when he departed from Babylon, concerning this scripture. In the book of Jasher, chapter 12, verses 40 to 43, it is written, and all the sovereigns, princes, and husbandmen gave Abram many gifts of silver, and gold, and pearl, and the king and princes sent him away, and he departed in peace. Abram went forth from the king in peace, and many of the king's husbandmen followed him, and about 300 valiant men adhered him. And Abram returned on that day, and behaved himself according to his forefathers' tablet, he and the valiant men that followed him. And Abram served Yah his sovereign all the days of his life. He behaved himself according to his course of life, and followed his law. From that day forward, Abram inclined the minds of the chiefs of the patrimony to serve Yah. These valiant men that followed Abram were the same 318 that were his armed husbandmen consented with his tablet. Again, the Torah gives its consent in the book of Genesis, chapter 14, verses 14 through 16. It is consented. And when Abram heard that his kindred began to cut off ignobles, he armed his initiated husbandmen, risen up through the consent with the tablet, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he engraved himself against them, he and his husband, through the dawning of the day, and arrested them, and took them to a hiding place, which is on an unoccupied border of Damascus. And they guarded the kindred with a band of men, and also disannulled the assemblage his kindred pledged, and their deputyship, and the husbandmen also, and the chiefs. And concerning the commandment of the law for a husbandman that escaped his master, in the tablet of Moses in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verses 15 through 16, it is consented. You shall not deliver unto his master the husbandman which is rescued from his master by you. He shall lodge even among you, in that family which he shall clarify among the husbandmen of thy cities, where they favor him best. Moreover, concerning the judgment of the chief or master of the lodge, who transgressed this said commandment, first and foremost, in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2, verses 1 through 4, verses 8 through 9, and verse 36, it is written, Now the years of David drew near that he should die, and he charged Solomon his son, commanding, I depart the way of all the earth. Be you courageous, therefore, and advertise thyself a valiant man, and keep the charge of Yah thy sovereign, to behave self according to his course of life, to keep his law, and his commandments, and his judgments, and his testimonies, as it is written in the law of Moses, that you may prosper in all that you do, and howsoever you employ thyself, that Yah may establish his word which he spake concerning me, promising, if thy children take heed to their course of life, to behave self according to me in truth, with all their understanding, and in conjunction with all the tablet, there shall not fail you, promise he, a man on the throne of Israel. Moreover, certainly, you have against you Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite of Bahurim, who cursed me with a cruel oath on the day when I considered to show mercy. But he came down to anger me near the Jordan, and I swear concerning him by Yah, promising, I will surely put you to death by reason of the murder cry. Now therefore, hold him not guiltless, for you are a wise chief, and know what you must needs to bring forth against him. And his gray-headed chief men cut off you altogether, according to the engraving for truthfulness. And the king sent and called for Shimei, and said to him, Build you a place in Jerusalem, and remain there, and go not forth there anywhere. And continuing in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 2, verses 39 through 43, in verse 46, it is confirmed. And it came to pass at the end of 3 years that two of the husbandmen of Shimei ran away to Achish, son of Maacah, sovereign of God. And they told Shimei, saying, Certainly, thy husband are in God. And Shimei arose and girded about his sapphire, and departed to Gath to Achish to seek his husband. And Shimei departed and brought his husbandman from God. And it was told Solomon that Shimei had departed from Jerusalem toward God, and was come again. And the king sent and called Shimei and said to him, Did I make you to swear by Yah, and gave warning to you, commanding, know for a certain, on the day you depart out and travel abroad anywhere, that you shall surely die? And you said to me, The judgment that I have consented is good. Why then have you not kept the oath of Yah, and the commandment that I have charged you with? So the king commanded Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, which departed out and cut off because of him, that they died, and the kingdom was established with the ministry of Solomon. Wherefore, given the aforementioned scripture concerning the escaped husband of Shimei the Benjamite, we are enlightened to the truth that the same both violated his oath to the king, both violated his oath to King Solomon, and the commandment that he was charged to keep by Solomon, which is the command charged to every husbandman of the husbandry, which is to love Yah with all your mind and will, and according to the tablet. Also, we are enlightened to the truth that the judgment of the law can be avenged by the relative of a man against whom a trespass was committed. And such was the case in the matter regarding King David, King Solomon, and Shimei the Benjamite, and shall be expounded when the judgment concerning the trespass committed by King Ahab and his lodge against both the Jezreelites regarding his tablet. Also, the trespass pertaining to sinning through ignorance moreover applies to the tablet and ministry of a person who has had his tablet and ministry stolen by the chiefs of the lodge, and deceived the chief sovereign to bring the curse upon himself and the patrimony, and thus subject himself to the judgment and the law concerning the said trespass. In the book of Leviticus, chapter 5, verse 1, and verses 15 through 16, it is consented. And if a person sin through ignorance and consent the proclamation of an oath, and is a witness, whether he altogether take heed or have knowledge of it, if he do not tell it, then he shall bear his calamity. If a person commit a trespass and sin through ignorance concerning the sacred books of Yah, then he shall bring forth his trespass offering to Yah, a ram without blemish out of the flocks, equally with thy estimation for pay for money, according to the commercial standard of the sanctuary, for a trespass offering. And he shall make repay for the perfect mischief that he has done concerning the holy book. He shall add the fifth part thereto, and give it to the chief ruler. And the priest shall make an atonement for him with the ram for the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. The said trespasses included in sinning through ignorance are based upon certain commands in the law, where conspiracy is determined as put in execution regarding stolen tablets and the attempt to cover it up. Concerning these said commandments concerning in the law, in the book of Leviticus, chapter 6, verses 1 through 5, it is consented. And Yah spake through Moses, commanding, if a person commit sin and commit a trespass against Yah, and lie to his lodge concerning that which was delivered him to observe, or in fellowship, or concerning a work taken away through oppression, or has deceived his lodge, or have attained that which was divided by lot, and be found liars concerning it, and taken oath to deal falsely concerning any of all these that a person do committing sin therein, then it shall come to pass, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the work which he hath treacherously acquired, or that which was delivered him to observe, or the divided by lot work which he attained, or all that about which he has taken an oath to deal falsely. He shall even restore it to the taskmaster, and shall add the fifth part more thereto, and give it to him to whom it appertaineth at the time of his trespass offering. Also, in the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verses 2 through 4, and verses 7 through 9, it is consented. If a thief be delivered an unexpected examination to minister, and be given stripes that he die, there shall no blood be shed because of him. If a luminary is enjoined with him, there shall be truthfulness spilled forth from them before he should make full restitution. If he have nothing, then he shall be ruined because of his theft. If the theft be certainly found in his custody alive, whether he be a governor, or chieftain, or shepherd, he shall restore double. Digressing here, that means kidnapping. They kidnap you and actually hold you and torture you to get information out of you, or throw you in one of their jails so that information can't get out. Let me make that clear. In any of these cases, this is the only way that a theft can be found in someone's custody alive, is if they have conspired to bring him into a place where he is shut up or concealed. Now, continuing, if the theft be certainly found in his custody alive, whether he be a governor or chieftain or shepherd, he shall restore double. If a person shall deliver to his lodge money or a work to observe, and it is stolen out of the person's tablet, if the thief be found out, let him pay double. If the theft be not found out, then the owner of the tablet shall be brought before the judges to discern whether he have imputed his ministry from his shepherd's work. For all manner of trespass, whether it be against a governor, against a chieftain, against a shepherd, for treachery, or for any manner of lost work, which another challenged to be his, the work of both parties shall come before the judges, and whom the judges shall condemn, he shall pay double to his shepherd. Given that the judges, who are of the chief men of the Levites, are the main culprits of the aforementioned trespasses concerning lost or stolen works, which shall hereafter be considered and confirmed, then the matter must come before the chief sovereign according to the law. For the chief sovereign is implicated in the said trespasses by reason of acknowledging and consenting stolen and divided works acquired through treachery, whether the trespass was committed in ignorance or otherwise. Again, in the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 5, it is consented, if a person shall render the pure or a tablet to be taken away, and shall exalt hereby his foolish, and shall make provision with another husbandman's inheritance, of the best of his own inheritance, and of the best of his own palaces, shall he make restitution. The following enlightenment shall reveal the conspiracy to cover up the consent of stolen tablets transcribed from the sacred books of Yah, put in execution by the lodges of Levi mentioned herein, and the sovereign chief of the Levite that sits as judge over Israel. It is by means of these same that the chief sovereign has been deceived to take away the inheritance of the pure, and thereby, with consented oaths, exalted his foolish to make provision from the inheritance of the upright. Wherefore, the entire patrimony is again, moreover, made desolate by reason of the crimes that not even one elder, not one sovereign, not one prince nor priest, and not a prophet nor master in Israel, in the lodges of Levi, nor the eastward watercourses have acted according to the law and prophets to execute a diligent inspection concerning the claims of the trespasses rendered by Sam Zanders, sovereign chief of the Levites, and proudly spoken family of his lodges, the Hills. First and foremost, it is deemed prudent to consent in the law concerning the said sovereign and judge of Levi, Sam Zanders, who at this very time plotted against my life with the chiefs of Levi that live in the very same town I live. Concerning this wicked sovereign who lie in wait against a certain spoken of chief of Judah that transcribes the holy tablet and whose ministry desolate the adversary utterly, in the tablet of Moses, in the book of Numbers, chapter 23, verses 7 through 10, verse 24, it is consented. And he brought forth this parable and said, the waster, a sovereign of the patrimony, hath cut off me from being elevated from the honorable men of the eastward builder, thinking, translate, enlighten me restrain. Moreover, translate, defame the chiefs. Who shall I enlighten? Whom Yah have surely cursed. Or who shall I defame? Whom Yah have surely exposed. For from among the chief men of the confine had I had a vision of him, and above the hills I presented him. Certainly, the assembly shall stand in all together, and shall not be accounted with the chiefs. Who can fabricate the tablets of the restrained, and avenge the squared families of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my future posterity be like his. Certainly, the worthy shall succeed hereafter as a great chief, and pay attention to have power himself like a patrimony chief. He shall not lie down to rest until he make war to desolate the robbers, and mingle the blood of the deadly wounded. Also, concerning the same chief Levite that judged, who is Sam Zanders, and the Levites of his lodge who purpose to come against the chief of Judah that translate the holy tablet. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 7, verses 1 through 2, verses 5 through 6, and verse 9, it is written and confirmed. And it came to pass in the days of the held-back chief of the upright, the anointed one of Jah, king of Judah, that an accomplished sovereign that became elevated, and a watch Levite that judged, a sovereign of Israel, came forth against the teacher to fight against him, but could not prevail against him. Moreover, it was told the house of David, saying, the adversary has made a covenant concerning the tablet, and his tablet was consumed. Moreover, the dead of his family, to render sure the chiefs of the carpenters are promoted by reason of divine judgment, because the adversary, the families, and the Levite that judge have strengthened the evildoer to take counsel against you, saying, let us go forth against the ministry, and hasten it, and let us make a breach therein for us, and set up a sovereign over the carpenters of him, even a Levite to desolate the chief. Moreover, the chief man of the families is watched, and the chief man of the watched is a chief Levite. If you will not believe, surely you shall not be faithful. In the aforementioned prophecy by the prophet Isaiah, we are enlightened to the confirmed truth that a conspiracy has transpired by reason of two Levite sovereigns. One said sovereign was already accomplished, and the other sovereign was a watch Levite that judged. Both of these sovereigns came against a certain ministry that accused them of the trespasses herein concerning stolen works. This truth is made evident by an upright witness who heeded the warning in the law, and confessed that covert crimes committed by the aforementioned sovereigns of Levi against the dead of his family and his tablet were committed. Again, in the tablet of Isaiah, chapter 7, verse 2, it is confirmed. Moreover, it was told the house of David, saying, the adversary has made a covenant concerning the tablet, and his tablet was consumed. Moreover, the dead of his family, to render sure the chiefs of the carpenters are promoted by reason of divine judgment. Digressing here, to offer certain truths regarding the dead of my family and their connection to the tablets mentioned in the aforementioned scripture, and to the said sovereign that became elevated in the watch Levite that judged. It is important to note that both Sam Zanders and Victor Hill both received tablets of Israel to be eventually divided and brought before the chief sovereign of the patrimony to be acknowledged and consented as their own, thus causing the chief sovereign of this ancient and noble patrimony to sin through ignorance, and render the entire patrimony into the ministry of Israel and the murder cry written herein. The tablets of Israel were first submitted to a lodge of Levi in Waycross, Georgia, to my beloved mother, the late Faye Clark Jackson, by the late Derek Snipes, who presented my works to the lodge no later than January 1st, 2012, and again on or about December 2012. It must also be noted that the chief Levite that judged mentioned in the aforementioned scripture of Isaiah, Sam Zanders, was a captain and later warden of security at Telfair State Prison, where I was incarcerated from November 19th, 2007 through April 17th, 2017. He was also sovereign over the region at that time, and Waycross, Georgia was his jurisdiction. This implies that the tablets of Israel came into his possession. The WM That is, the worshipful master that governed the laws in Waycross, Georgia at this time was Sean Sanders, which also implies that the tablets of Israel came into his possession. Furthermore, Sean Sanders has been forwarded the link to every podcast presented by myself, Israel, by the man whose platform I present my understanding. As early as late December 2021, Sean Sanders, a Levite priest, has been aware of my complaint concerning my tablet. And moreover, after receiving my work in 2012, shortly afterward, Sean Sanders began to work at the same job as my mother. Sean Sanders knows of me, knew my mother who spoke kindly of him, has my blood family as Facebook friends, maybe even attended my mother's funeral. But not once did Sean Sanders reach out to me concerning the tablets I submitted to my mother by Derek Snipes, the dead of my family who were murdered by means of covert treachery that was made to look like an unfortunate ailment. This in itself marked the adversary against me, the last witness that could expose the cover-up against myself and the chief sovereign who said in ignorance and exalted his foolish Sam Sanders in the hills. The Lodge of Riverdale, Georgia, received tablets of Israel through one Jeremy Green, an inmate at Telfair Prison. Two individual works were presented from April 2015 through September 2015, in which they were mailed to his home address, meaning that I talked to his father personally and was told to send them, for the tablets would be in the hands of upright men. Again, about September 2014, translations of the book of Revelation were submitted to the Hebrew Israelite flock of Yahweh being Yahweh being Yahweh by a Hebrew Israelite known only by the name of Shem. In each case that the works of Israel were presented to the said lodges as tidings, instruction, and as warning, the chiefs stole the tablets, divided the works, lied to their lodge, swear an oath to deal falsely, had the works considered by the chief sovereign by means of treachery, and murdered the dead of my family to dispose of any witnesses against them. Moreover, not one, excuse me, I'm sorry. In each case, the works of Israel were presented to the said lodges as tidings, instruction, and as warning. The chief stole, In each case that the works of Israel were presented to the said lodges as tidings, instruction, and as warning, the chief stole the tablets, divided the works, lied to their lodge, swore an oath to deal falsely, had the works considered by the chief sovereign by means of treachery, and murdered the dead of my family to dispose of any witnesses against them. Moreover, not one elder, prince, or prophet made a diligent inspection concerning the matter of this claim, even though it
Brother
had been
Israel.
made a point of subject in the podcast of the fall of Babylon. And the
Hey, brother Israel.
Their proudly spoken lodges.
Hey, you had started going a little low. I don't know if you moved your phone or whatever. You might want to go back one or two sentences.
It's kind of low right now. Can you hear me better?
Oh yeah, much better.
Okay, I'm sorry. Moreover, not one elder, sovereign, prince, priest, or prophet made a diligent inspection concerning the matter of this claim, even though it has been previously made a point of subject in the podcast of the fall of Babylon and the ministry therein against the hills and their proudly spoken lodges. And Sean Sanders and certain other masons of this town of Waycross, Georgia, was forwarded the link concerning the said accusation. This trespass in itself is a violation of law and blasphemy of the word of God. And the law clearly states that such a trespass is a transgression of the law and a curse. Moreover, it reveals the extent of the conspiracy by all the chiefs of Israel to cover up a crime against the sovereign, as in the case of Ahab, king of Israel, and the tablet of Naboth, the Jezreelite. The following enlightenment will now consent.
Hey, brother, you went back low again.
Okay.
What about now? Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay.
You might just want to get closer to the phone or something. I don't know what happened to make it go low. It starts sounding like you in the car.
I'll just stay closer. The following enlightenment The following enlightenment will
There you
now
go. You
consent
sound
and
much better.
confirm the tablets of Yisrael. His worthy armed men consented with his tablet, and the judgments brought forth by the same against the chiefs of Israel and Yaqub, and moreover the lodges of Levi, because of the crimes mentioned throughout this tablet. Concerning the tablet of Israel and his worthy armed men, in the legend of the Jews, the creation, it is written, it was therefore Israel who was taken into consideration at the time man was fashioned. All other congregations were instructed to change their nation if Israel should ever need their aid in the course of its history. The West is made ready to divide by reason of the drawn out, and the pardon to lay unto charge the proclamation of the words of the leader. The luminary and the youthful continue to stand firm with the chief, the Arabs to make friendship with the chief, the enlightened to pardon a third afflicted in prison, violence to do no harm to the chief, the timid to spew forth the warmth of their mating, and the tablets to be set open for the chief. Accordingly, the whole creation was conditional. Yah declared to the things he made on the first 6 days, if Israel accepts the Torah, you will continue and stand firm. Otherwise, I shall return everything back into chaos again. The entire world without end was therefore kept in suspense and dread until the day of the revelation after, when
Hey, Fred,
Israel, yes,
you moved your phone again. You moved your phone again because they getting the word, man. They loving it, but when your phone move, it gets real low. Give me a sound check right now.
All right, it's straight now.
Move it again and see, can you get it like a?
How about now?
All right, perfect.
That's good.
Perfect.
Okay. Let me pick up where I left off. Okay. If Israel accepts the Torah, you will continue and stand firm. Otherwise, I shall return everything back into chaos again. The entire world without end was therefore kept in suspense and dread until the day of the revelation after, when Israel amended and consented with the Torah, and so fulfilled the condition made by Yah at the time when he created the universe. Also, the Torah gives its consent concerning Israel and his worthy in the book of Genesis, chapter 18, verses 17 through 19, it is consented. And the sovereign said, shall I conceal from Abraham that judgment which I execute, seeing that the chief shall surely become an honorable man and virtuous chief, and all the tribes of the husbandry shall be blessed through him. For I appointed him, so that he will charge his worthy and his family with him, and they shall protect the course of life to execute justice and defend, so that Yah may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him. Furthermore, the law gives its consent concerning Israel and his armed men in the book of Exodus, chapter 6, verse 5 through 7, it is consented. And I have also considered the sighing of the worthy of Israel, whom the adversary keep both in prison and servitude. And I have remembered my covenant. Wherefore, say to the families of Israel, I am Yah, and I will bring you out from the burdens of the adversary, and I will rid you of their bondage, and I will redeem you with drawn out armed men and with severe judgments. And I will pledge you to me for a people, and I will be to you a refuge, and you shall know that I am Yah your sovereign, which bring you forth from under the burdens of the adversary. The prophet Isaiah confirms Israel as the scribe who beacons the worthy drawn out, according to the charge of Yah. In the tablet of Isaiah, chapter 44, verses 1 through 5, it is confirmed. Yet now hear, O restrained, my bondmen, and Israel, whom I have chosen. This declared Yah that appointed you and framed you with compassion, which will help you. Fear not, O restrain my bondman, and you, Israel, whom I have chosen. For I will send forth to him, for I will send forth help to him, from whence there is desert, and assemble the raised up, to lift up the steadfast. I will render my divine inspiration in thy seed, and my blessing upon thy offspring. And they shall grow up to minister, to make provision for the court, as well as the Arabs near the watercourses. The worthy shall declare, I am Yah's, and the chiefs shall charge themselves with the promise to desolate the supplanter. And the chief shall write according to his charge to Yah, and surname himself with the name of Yisrael. In the tablet of Isaiah, chapter 41, verses 8 through 9, it is confirmed. But you, Yisrael, are my husbandman, the restrained whom I have appointed, the seed of Abraham, my shepherd. You whom I have exalted above the chief men of the husbandry, and charge you with the chief men thereof, and declare concerning you, you are my husbandman. I have chosen you, and not cast you away. Also, in the tablet of Isaiah, chapter 11, verses 1 through 2, verses 5 through 6, and verses 11 through 12, it is confirmed. And there shall come forth correction from the stock of Jesse, and an anointed one shall break forth by reason of his roots. And the divine inspiration of Yah shall remain in him, a divine intellect of wisdom and understanding, an intellect of reason and mastery, a mind that deal wisely and that reverence likewise Yah. Justice shall be the apron of his armed men, and faithfulness the apron of his drawn out. The white also shall lodge with the leader, and the obtained children shall lie down, both in security with Yah's anointed one and the honorable, and the old cared for, and the young protected, and the fearful likewise. And the drawn out worthy shall protect them. And it shall come to pass after that process of time that the sovereign shall confirm his ministry again a second time to bring home again the reserve for his worthy, which shall altogether stand firm with the successful, and with Egypt, and with Pathros, and with Ethiopia, and with Elam, and with Shinar, and because of the revolution, and because of the islands of the west. And he shall establish hereafter a banner for the foreign nations, and shall summon the forces of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of the fellowship from among the sprawling projects of the country. And in the Gospels of Yahshua, in the tablet of St. Luke, chapter 1, verses 67 through 79, it is confirmed. And his patrimony chief was committed to full tale concerning the holy tablet, and prophesied publishing. Praise be Yah, the sovereign of Israel, for he certainly did judgment and released his worthy, and has raised up deliverance for us in the tablet of his husbandman David, and has rehearsed through the word of his holy prophets, which possessed a desire to follow after the ancient promotion, so that we should altogether get the victory over our enemies, and from the handiwork of every one that opposed self against us, to put in execution the merciful kindness promised to our forefathers, and to put to remembrance his holy covenant, the charge by an oath which he exacted from our forefather Abraham, that we would lay to charge to us, that we, being delivered from the handiwork of our enemies, may stand firm to serve him without the terrible acts, in holiness, and that which is altogether just according to him, all the days of our life. And you, anointed one, shall be proclaimed the prophet of the Most High. For you shall translate for the humble of Yah, to set aright his travelers, to render the understanding that brings salvation for his assemblage, with a pardon for their punishment of sins, by means of the tender mercy of our sovereign, whereby the light from on high has saved us. Lay unto charge the luminary with them that endure both in humility and in misery, and overcovered with shades of death, to protect our chief men, both traveling in and to send forth whatsoever the proclamation. And concerning the tablets of Israel, again, the law gives its consent in the book of Numbers 23, verses 7 through 10, in verse 24, where it is consented. And he brought forth this parable and said, the waster, a sovereign of the patrimony, have cut me off from being elevated from the honorable men of the eastward builder, thinking, translate, enlighten me restrain, moreover translate, defame the chiefs. Who shall I enlighten, whom Yah have surely cursed? Or who shall I defame, whom Yah have surely exposed? For from among the chief men of the confined I had a vision of him, and above the hills I presented him. Certainly, the assembly shall stand in all together, and shall not be accounted with the chiefs. Who can fabricate the tablets of the restrained, and avenge the squared families of Israel? Let me die the death of the upright, and let my future posterity be like his. Certainly, the worthy shall succeed hereafter as a great chief, and pay attention to have power himself like a patrimony chief. And he shall not lie down to rest until he make war to desolate the robbers, and mingle the blood of the deadly wounded. And briefly, concerning the tablets of Israel, in the tablets of Isaiah, chapter 5, verses 1 through 3, it is confirmed. Now, I will render concerning my well-beloved a prophecy, for my beloved concerning his tablet. My well-beloved presented a tablet against a proudly spoken vintage, the hill, and he confirmed it, and cut off thenceforth the carpenters thereof, and transplanted those with the meted out families, and set up a defense for the carpenters of the same, and also restored a lot therein. And he thought that they should bring forth immature grapes, but they brought forth good grapes. And now, O lodgers of the teachers, and chiefs of Judah, judge, I beg, between me and our families. In the book of Exodus, chapter 22, verses 7 through 9, it is confirmed. If a person shall deliver to his lodge money or work to observe, and it is stolen out of the person's tablet, if the thief be found out, let him pay double. If the thief be not found out, then let the owner of the tablet shall be brought before the judges to discern whether he have imputed his ministry from his shepherd's work. For all manner of trespass, whether it be against the governor, against the chieftain, against the shepherd, for treachery, or for any manner of lost work, which another challenged to be his, the work of both parties shall come before the judges, whom the judges shall condemn. He shall pay double to his shepherd. And in the book of Amos, chapter 6, verse 1, it is confirmed. Woe to them that are altogether confederate against the overseer, and trust in the lifted up that protect, who were appointed the chief man of the congregations, to whom the tablets of Israel came, and to consent the tablet hereby presented. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verses 1 through 6, verses 9 through 14, verses 16 through 31. Verses 16 through 26, and verses 31 through 43. It is consented. Give in near, O you honorable men, and I will teach. And listen, O husbandry, to the commandments of my word. My doctrine shall fall in drops like rain. My oracle shall pour down as the covering, like unto a constrained rain upon the tender sprout, and as storms against the grass. Because I will preach the work of Yah. Ascribe you greatness to our sovereign. He is the defense. His work is perfect, for all his customs are mandated. A sovereign of truth and without mischief. That which altogether just and righteous is he. They have ruined themselves. Their stain is not the stain of his worthy. They are a perverse and proud generation. Do you in like manner serve Yah, O foolish chiefs and unwise? Is he not thy founder that had redeemed you? Did he not charge you and establish you? For Yah's inheritance is his tribes. The restrained is a covering for his patrimony. He delivered him by reason of a desert husbandry, and from the ruined howling prisons. He guided him about. He taught him. He selected him as the anointed one for us. The same lacerate hereafter his erect, brood over his worthy, deliver for off his poor, pledged them, exalted them to his highest places. Surely Yah alone did guide him, and there was no other sovereign beside him. He made him a dispatch against the proud families of the husbandry, that he might shepherd the offspring of the husbandman, and made him to drain the honey from the impudent, the anointed oil because of the recovered tablet, the flattery of the families, and the riches and the richness of the shepherds equally with the rich of the leaders, and the chiefs of the rebels of Bashan, and the profitable, and the abundance of whatsoever tremble. And you did furnish a potion to select the innocent of the stray. They provoked him to jealousy with strange idols. By reason of abominable customs provoked they him to rage. They sacrificed to the he-goat, not to Yah. Digressing here, if any of you see any of these entertainers or ball players, sports athletes, they throw up the he-goat with their fingers. It's when they take their two middle fingers and they leave the horns out and they bring that thumb up and they attach it to their two middle fingers. They are making the sign of the he-goat. They are revealing to the rest of their brothers and to the rest of their lodges that they are with the lodges of the he-goat, that worship the he-goat. They are with the lodges of these Hills and Sam Zanders. They are with these sodomite lodges. Your LeBron James, your Dr. Dre's, your Rick Ross's, all those who you have seen throwing up that sign, they were throwing up the sign of the he-goat, and they were acknowledging their lodges. Keep that in mind. Continuing, they provoked him to jealousy with strange idols. By reason of abominable customs provoked they him to rage. They sacrificed to the he-goat, not to Yah, to idols whom they acknowledge surely, to new idols that the West set up hereafter, whom your forefathers revered not. Of the refuge that begat you, you are unmindful, and have forgotten the sovereign that formed you. And when Yah saw it, he rejected them because of the rebelling of his chiefs and of his Levites. And he promised, I will hide my knowledge from them. I will see who their upright shall be. For they are a perverse generation, kindred in whom is no truth. They have agitated me to indignation with that which is not of Yah. They have provoked me to rage with their idols, and I will agitate them with the indignation of those that are not Levites. I will provoke them to rage with the foolish people, for the fire is kindled by mine rage, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the families with their offsprings, and set on fire the foundations to desolate the hills. I will increase calamities against them. I will prepare mine worthy to cut off them. They shall be consumed by hunger, and destroyed with an extreme burning heat, and with the most bitter destruction. I will impose a notoriety to lay waste to brutish persons among them, because of the rage to desolate the enchanters of the tablet. The cutting instrument outdoors, the panic within, shall destroy both the young man and the damsel, the suckling child also with the man of gray hairs. I promised I would disperse them throughout the regions. I would make the resemblance of them to cease from among the patrimony. For their most stronghold is not as our refuge, even our enemies themselves being the judges. For their princes are of the vintage of Sodom, and their husbandmen of Gomorrah. Their immature grapes are immature grapes, therefore bitter. Their testicles altogether a perfumery. Their slime is like the venom of serpents, and the deadly poison for contortions. That means to bend and twist severely out of place. Was not this the infirmity received from a depository against me, and marked to bring forth from among my depository? To me belong vengeance and repay. Their following shall bemoan concerning the scribe today, for the time of their calamity is near themselves, and the oracles that shall come to pass against them without fail hasten. For Yah shall judge his chiefs, and avenge himself for his husbandman, when he perceives that their enemy is condemned, and they are one by one locked up or loosened. He shall declare, where are the judges, their refuge in whom they trusted, which did eat the choice part of their sacrifices, and drank wine of their libation offerings? Let them come forth and help you, and be your protection. Take heed now that I, even I am he, and there is no judge beside me. I put to death, and I restore the congregation. I give wounds, and I heal. Neither is there a person that can escape from my handiwork. For I bring forth my ministry to the honorable, and declare I live forever. When I bring into contempt my flashing cutting instrument, but my ministry altogether support throughout the punishment, I will render vengeance upon mine enemies, and I will recompense them that oppose self against me. I will make mine worthy drunk from the bloodthirsty, and my cutting instrument shall consume the body. And this because of the innocent of the slain, and likewise the prisons are the foremost of the avenging against the enemy. Rejoice, all you tribes, with his worthy, for he will avenge the deaths of his husbandmen, and will render vengeance to his adversaries, and will be compassionate to his husbandry and to his patrimony. Also, the law consents the tablet and the judgment herein. In the book of Numbers, chapter 24, verses 1 through 5, and verses 7 through 9, it is consented. And when Balaam perceived that it pleased Yah to bless Israel, he hastened not as at other times to trust the impudent enchanters, but he rendered his knowledge toward Arabah. And Balaam brought forth his knowledge, and he had a vision of Israel lodging in his tabernacles according to their tribes. And the inspiration of Yah came to him, and he brought forth his parable, and pronounced, Balaam, the son of Beor, declared, and the chief whose knowledge have let go free, has said, he have declared who understood the oracles of Yah, which perceived the vision of the Almighty, slipping into a trance, but having his knowledge disclosed. How beautiful are thy homes, O restrained, and thy lodges, O Israel. He shall place firmly the conceived seed of his drawn out, and his conceived seed shall be in many watercourses, and his rule shall be higher placed than a God, and his kingdom shall be exalted. The sovereign delivered him forth from the adversary. He have as it were the strength of a wild bull. He shall flay hereafter the chiefs his enemies, and shall ruin their bodies, and destroy them along with his tumultuous ones. He prostrated. He established worship himself to make atonement, and to render sure an honorable chief. Who shall rise up against him hereafter? Blessed is he that bless you, and the cursed is he that curse you. And in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 33, verses 1 through 5, verses 26 through 27, and verse 29, it is consented. And this is the blessing wherewith Moses, the anointed one of the patrimony, blessed the kindred of Israel before his death. And he said, the sovereign appeared at Sinai, and cut off the minister of the satire from them, that is a he-goat. He enlightened the offspring of the minister. He enlightened the offspring of the proud to glorify himself, and he with great things to teach of holiness. From his righteous work came a commissioned law for them. And furthermore, he loved the patrimony. All his saints are committed to thy service, and they continue to be firm with thy chief men. All the dedicated shall approve thy commandments. Moses appointed us a law, notwithstanding the inheritance of the assemblage of the restrained. And he was king over Israel, when the chief men of the patrimony and the kindred were gathered together. There is none like unto the sovereign of Israel, who ride through the firmament to thy aid, and in his grandeur, and his grandeur in the clouds. The eternal sovereign is thy refuge, and the depressed are committed a perpetual force. And he shall thrust out the enemy from before you, and shall command, destroy them. Happy are you, O Israel, who are like unto you, O families, defended by the sovereign, the protector of thy deliverer, and who is committed the cutting instrument to desolate thy proud. And thine enemies shall be found liars concerning you, and you shall tear altogether their proudly spoken families. The aforementioned consent of the law clearly confirms the judgments herein, and to whom they pertain. Furthermore, the law gives its consent in the previous scripture that the sovereign shall heed that which is written in the law, and shall ride through the firmament in his grandeur to diligently inspect the cover-up concerning the tablets of Israel, as well as the crimes against the patrimony. First and foremost, concerning the grandeur of the sovereign and the assembly in which the judges and all the proud lodges of Israel and the chiefs are judged. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1. Excuse me. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, it is confirmed. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year, in the 4th month, on the 5th day of the month, as I was with the prisoners of the inheritance of the charmer, that the tablets were opened, and I prophesied oracles of the chief on the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of the sovereign chief's flame. An oracle of Yah translated expressly to encourage the chief ruler. An anointed one likewise disrespected in the husbandry of the astrologers of the inheritance of the charmer. And the ministry of Yah was committed to him. And I considered and discerned a cool tempest descended out of the wind, a burning gloom, and the blaze enfolding itself, and the brightness about it, and out of the hollow thereof, as it were the color of amber, parted the lawgivers that enlighten. Also out of the hollow thereof came the figures that square the congregation surely. And this was their looks. They had the manner of great men to keep in remembrance. Each one was squared himself, and each one had to square one another. And their captains were upright, and the hand of their captains were as the paw of a calf's leg. And they sparkled like the color of polished brass. And they had the handles of a warrior over their overspreadings, because of their square build. And that made it and that which made it be a quadrate, considered their impudent and their poor. Their poor men were joined at once to another. They turned aside not when they came. They hastened every good man made straight to me. As for the manner of their impudent, the same four had the countenance of a tumultuous one, and the look of violence, of one mind to litigate the ministry. And the same four rehearsed the knowledge for a chieftain, of one mind to acquire the work. These same four also had the knowledge likewise to show mercy. Such was their anger, and their backs were set loftily. Double overspreadings that surround a man were arranged one upon another, and the two covered their bodies. And they departed each one straightway to unclothe. Whithersoever the chiefs were to prepare, they went, and they turned back not when they departed. As for the manner of the revived congregation, their countenance was like unto burning embers that enlighten, and with a stare that glistened. They walked to minister and salute with the revived congregation, and the enlightened caused happiness. From among the enlightened came forth the luminary. And the revived congregation delighted in and rejoiced when the seer that lightened the sheep came down. Now, as I contemplated a bright spot suffered to live, alas, the eldest chief rolled down between the builders of the revived congregation, with his square before. The appearance of the wheels in their parts were like unto the color of gems, and these four had a single likeness, and their pattern and their sculpture was as it were a rolling thing in the center of a wheel. When they moved according to their four directions, and they turned back not after they moved. As for the rims, they are so magnificent that they cause to stand in awe, and their curves were full of colors round about the same four. And when the revived congregation rose up, the rolling thing was lifted up. Wheresoever the chiefs had to prepare, they returned. Therein was their chief to prepare, and the rolling thing was lifted up over above them. For the chiefs of the revived congregation were under the rolling thing. Wheresoever this moved, they moved. And when this did, and when this stood still, they stood still. And when they were lifted up over the place, the rolling thing was lifted up over above them. For the chiefs of the revived congregation were within the rolling thing. And the fashion of the overlay above the chiefs of the revived congregation was as the resemblance of a frost, stretched high over their heads forward. And below the overlay were their overspreading set in order, a jewel upon one another. Each one had 12, which wrapped about him crossed, and each one had 2 parts, which wrapped about him across their bodies. And as they anticipated, I marked well the agitated of their uppermost parts, to confirm the proclamation of the far-off watercourses, the same proclamation of the destroyer, the proclamation of an appointment according to the consent of the virtuous. When they arose, they let down their flaps, and there was a voice from the overlay that was above their heads after they stood up and had let down their flaps. And from the overlay that was above their heads was the form of a throne, fashioned certainly out of the same gemstone. And on the likeness of the throne was an image rendered sure, the favorite of the patrimony set up on high upon it. And as I saw as it were, the face of bronze, like unto the countenance of the enlightened round about upon it. From the looks of his arm men upward, and from the looks of his arm men even downward, I perceived as it were the countenance of the enlightened, and they had a glitter round about. And as the color of the bow that is in the cloud in the season of rain, so was the color of the glitter round about. This was the sight of the structure of the grandeur of the elder. And when I prophesied it, I presented accordingly my knowledge, and I showed forth the proclamation of the sanctified one. Also, concerning this same solemn assembly, the book of Zechariah, chapter 12, it is confirmed. A prophecy for an oracle of Yah, for Yisrael, the spoken of chief, which prostrated for the raised up, and restored the foundation of the husbandry, and determined to destroy the desolate against him. Consider, I will make the teachers hold together one to another, trembling before all the assemblies round about, when they shall be in distress both concerning the works and concerning the repay. But before that time, I will make the teachers a burdensome weight for all the families. All that doom themselves because of it shall become servants by reason of the decrees. Though all the desperate of the families altogether gather together against those. At that time, declare Yah, I will disband every driver in ruin, and his rider with rage. And I will open my knowledge, and I will open up my knowledge in the tablets concerning death, and I will disband every driver of the chiefs' blind men, and the chieftains that give thanks shall think in their mind. The largest of the teachers shall be committed my help for the sovereign of the sacred courts, their sovereign. For that day will I make the chieftains of Judah like unto a furnace to desolate the strength of the carpenters, and like unto lightning to a bunch of grain. And they shall shepherd all the families round about, because of the sure ministry, and to set it one against the lodges. And the teachers shall be lodged again with their own families, even in Jerusalem. The chief also shall observe the lodges of Judah first, that the honor of the families of David and the honor of the lodges of the teacher do not magnify themselves before Judah. On this day shall Yah exalt the lodges of the teacher, and he that was slack among them before that process of time shall be committed to establish David. And the chiefs of David shall stand out to provide refuge and to confirm the messenger of Yah among them. And it shall come to pass in that process of time that I will make requests to cast off all the chiefs that come against the teacher. And I will cause to flow throughout the lodges of the teachers and throughout the families of David the intellect of the well-favored in earnest prayer. And they shall take heed to me whom they have quarried, and they shall mourn by reason of themselves, as a person lament for his only heir, and shall be in grief with him, as a person that is in grief for his firstborn. On that day there shall be a great fall among the teachers, as well as a fall of the proud of the families of the tablet that assemble. And the husbandmen shall study, each a tablet translated, a tablet for the families of David apart, and their husband apart, a tablet for the families that commit apart, and their husband apart, a tablet for the families of Levi apart, and their husband apart, and the families that be obedient, apart, and their husband apart, all the tribes that stand firm, every assemblage apart, and their husband apart. Also, concerning the judgments, in the book of Isaiah 51, verses 14 through verses 24, it is confirmed. The exiles in prison hasten anxiously that they may be freed, and that they should not die in prison, nor that his family should want. But I am Yah thy sovereign, that destroyed the west, whose umber was troubled. The sovereign of the sacred courts is his appellation. And I have imputed my oracles in thy word, and I have protected you with the representative figure of mine order, that I may plant the pardon and lay the foundation of the husbandry, and declare in truthfulness, you are my anointed one. Awaken, stir up self, continue to minister, O teacher, who have taken the field of the work of Yah, and the lot of his anger. You have furnished a potion to attend to that lot, to desolate the rage, and drain its sense. There was no man to counsel them among, there was no man to counsel them among all the chiefs whom this man hath translated for. Neither was there an overseer that pardoned him by reason of the ministry of all the chiefs that he hath translated for. Those two things stand out at once against you. Who shall be sorry for you? Ruin and destruction and hunger and the cutting instrument. For the sake of whom shall I pity you? Thy men have fainted. They lie at the beginning of all the streets, like unto a wild bull, both captured and doomed. They are rewarded the full fury of Yah, the correction of thy sovereign. Therefore, understand now this, you anguished, you drunken men, but not with wine. This declared the sovereign Yah, and the chief that and thy chief that avenged the crime to desolate his family. Certainly, I have pardoned by reason of thine ministry the lot to desolate the rage. Moreover, to attend to that lot, seeing my hot displeasure. You shall no more pour it out again, but I will execute it against the fellowship of them that evil entreat you, which have said concerning thyself, deal perversely to be ruined, that we may become exalted. But you have laid to charge thyself to establish the inheritance and prepare the builder against them that became exalted. Excuse. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 52, it is written, the chief beacons the worthy and cast together the dominions eastward when he began to take counsel. And he took counsel to unify, surely, the elders against the teachers. And his patrimony's work was to join the patrimony of the chief, to lay waste the whites. And he put in execution that which was consented by the humble of the sovereign, according to all that the chief had taught. For by reason of the anger of Yah, it came to pass against the teachers and the Jews, until he had cast them out by reason of his knowledge, so that the judge quarreled because of the sovereign of Babylon. And it came to pass because of a compassionate elder of his realm, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadrezzar, a sovereign of Babylon, adduced an argument, he and all his company, against the teacher, and became bondsmen by reason of him, and set up coverts against him round about, so that the masters were observed by a certain elder of the sovereign chief. And in the 4th month, on the 9th day of the month, the hunger was severe in the town, so that there was no food for the Levites, that became ashamed. Then the raised up were disbanded to supper, and all the Levites of the house of the counter fled suddenly, and departed without fail out of the town into the night, by a pathway of a palace between walls of protection, which was near the sovereign's garden. Now the Magians were in the town round about, and they escaped by a road of the low country. But the worthy to desolate the Magians pursued after the sovereign, and overtook the judge among the oaks for a month, and all his company was scattered from him. Then they seized the sovereign, and brought him forth before the sovereign of Babylon, with the fruitful of the elder, where he pronounced judgment against them. And the sovereign of Babylon put to death the sons of the judge in his presence. He put to death also the princes of the Jews with the fruitful. And then he wrapped up the eyes of the judge. And the sovereign of Babylon bound him with manacles, and transported him to Babel, and put him in a prison dungeon until the day of his execution. Also, concerning this town and the judgment that is to come upon the Levites, Ezekiel chapter 9 reads, he announced also in mine hearing with a loud proclamation, saying, order them that bring judgment against the raised up to come near, even every man with his cutting instrument upon his side. And surely 6 valiant men came from among the travelers of the higher place, which served to protect, and every man a smiting instrument at his side. And a certain man among them was clothed in linen, with a writer's inkhorn in his hand. And they came forth, and stood with the diligently observed chief. And the grandeur of the sovereign of Israel had departed up with the cherub, where he beaconed over the vestibule of the place. And he communed to the man clothed in linen, which had the writer's inkhorn in his hand. And the chief said to him, go through the rhythm of the town, among the carpenters of the teacher, and set up a guard to cut off the impudent of the chiefs that mourn, and cry out because of the abominable things that were committed by the carpenters thereof. And to the others he said in mine hearing, depart you after them through the town, and destroy. Let not thy humble help, neither be you merciful. Destroy utterly the chief and the young. Destroy utterly the chief and the builder, both the young men and the established Levites, and the husbandmen. But come not near any man upon whom the ensign, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they began with the aged chiefs, which were over the families. And he said to them, wound the chiefs, and fill the town with the deadly wounded. Depart you without fail. And they went forth, and deadly wounded through the town. And it came to pass while they were slaughtering them, and I was left alone, that I prostrated upon my face and cried out and said, O Yah Almighty, will you destroy all the superiority of Israel and the pouring out of thy fury against the teachers? Then said he to me, the wickedness of the chiefs of Israel and the Jews is very great, and the husbandry is full of bloodshed, and the raised up full of grudges. For they think God has discarded the husbandry, and the Lord appear not. And as for me also, mine humble shall not have compassion, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their traveler with their chief. And surely the man clothed in linen, which had the inkhorn in his hand, reported the matter, saying, I have performed as you have commanded me. Again, in the book of Ezekiel, verses 1 through 5, and verses 1 through 8, it is written. As a matter of fact, Ezekiel 11, verses 1 through 13. Moreover, divine intellect signaled me to minister, and returned me toward the eastward place of Yah's chief, which instruct the eastward builders. And surely, among the prominent of the place, 25 chiefs, whom I marked, the chief Levite that helped, and the distinguished Levite of God, princes of the assemblies. Then he said to me, anointed one of the patrimony, these are the chiefs that purpose evil and give hurtful counsel to these raised up, which counsel, he is not kindred. Let us build houses. This town is prosperous, and we are the kindred. Therefore, prophesy against them. Prophesy, O anointed one of the patrimony. And the inspiration of Yah came upon me, and said to me, speak. This declare Yah. In like manner have you spoken, O chiefs of Israel, for I know the thoughts that come into your mind, every one of them. You have continued your murder in this town, and you have satiated the fields thereof with the murder. Therefore, this declare Yah the Almighty. Your murder, whom you have put away from the carpenters of it, they were kindred in this town, and was prosperous. But I will humiliate you hereafter in the street for it. You have feared the murder cry, but I will bring to pass the cutting instrument against you, declare Yah the Almighty. And I will humiliate you in the streets thereof, and deliver you into the power of strangers, and will execute the condemned of you. You shall wear away by reason of the cutting instrument. I will judge you according to the work of Israel, and you shall know that I am Yah. That town shall not be your stockade, neither shall you be the kindred of the carpenter thereof. But I will judge you according to the work of Israel, and you shall know that I am Yah. For you have not behaved yourself according to my law, neither executed my judgments, but have done according to the customs of the heathen that are round about you. And it came to pass after I prophesied that the distinguished Levite of God were judged. Then cut off I the desolate against my humble, and proclaimed with a loud proclamation and declared, O Yah the Almighty, will you grant the builders mercy, of the escaped portion of Israel. And in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 24. And I'm just going to read till I'm satisfied, because this is the whole chapter.
Hey, brother Yisrael, they want you to break down a little bit of what you just read. You know what I'm saying? They want you to break down before you continue on.
Okay, before I continue on, what I just read, after I rehearsed the solemn assembly of the grandeur of the sovereign, this solemn assembly is the solemn assembly that are against this same chief sovereign of Israel, these judges, these same ones that I have spoken about throughout this entire scroll. This is the same judgment. This is the oracle. This is what an oracle is when you translate into prophets. It gives you a foreseeing of what has come to pass. So what I just rehearsed was the judgment of these same Levites and their sovereigns. Understand, they are right here from this town of Waycross. Their bloodline is right here from this town of Waycross where I'm at. They have been oppressing my family for 70 years. And even though I haven't put it into this scroll, I did enough history to know what the Hills have been doing to my family. I know this, even if my own family don't. And it's a shame that even though I'm not from this town, that I could come here and within the time of my incarceration and the time just living here, that I have figured out the plot to destroy not only the Clarks, but also my family in Texas. So this judgment, what I have just given you, was talking about the murder cry that is to come upon this town. Recall to mind the laws that I have given you when judgment come against a family or against any chief. Once a diligent inspection is held, they are seized. They are held as prisoners. In the case of lost works, the work of both parties come before the sovereign and before the judges. But given that the chief Levite is the main culprit and is also a judge, it only shows the extent of the conspiracy that the Levites of this town, with their sovereigns and princes and their prophets, as well as throughout Georgia, have done to try to cover this up. Because I have sent lodges to the lodges of Riverdale, Georgia. This is where Victor Hill is a sheriff. He's the sheriff of Clayton County, Georgia. Therefore, he has the police force and everything else in his pocket because he is also a sovereign of the Levites. And he has protection from the chief sovereign of the Levites, that judge, which is Sam Sanders, who was also the captain and the warden at the prison I was at for 10 years. And I knew within 2 weeks that I was there that he was sovereign over the region. And when I should prepare work to send it out, I knew that it would come through his hands, just knowing the order and the way things work when the work comes through the lodge. The 33rd degree is the highest in the lodge. This was Sean Sanders. When my work came through that lodge through the hands of Derek Snipes, it had to come through the hands of Sean Sanders, who submitted it to the prince that oversees that lodge and then the sovereign. This is the order of things. Sean Sanders began to work with my mother soon after. He was a spy. Understand what's going on. Understand this about the tablets. I have consented and I have confirmed the tablets of Israel and those who are responsible in the tablets. Now understand about tablets. My tablet do not supposed to sound like your tablet, nor be like the tablet of your teachers. Each individual person has a ministry when they begin to study. And the more that you study and submit to the will of Yah, an individual person, not a group, it takes an individual himself to submit to the laws of Yah and to his commandments. And when he do that, Yah will open up the tablet for him and show him things to be revealed. This is how it works. But being that we go by the interpretation of the holy tablet of our teachers, which is full of Western falsehood, we will never understand, or the tablets will never open for us. Recall this podcast when we were discussing about Yahshua, who was he the son of David or whatnot. Now I have consented and I have confirmed throughout the scripture that the Levites were the priests, and only Levites could enter into the temple. And I have shown in podcasts where Yahshua was teaching in the temple. If Yahshua is the son of David, how was he entering the temple when this was given to the Levites as an everlasting covenant? That interpretation and that doctrine is totally blasphemous. It's not even according to the law. But because these same chiefs of Yaqub, these Hebrew Israelites and Israel, knowing that fact, that truth alone, it could totally destroy the doctrine, the indoctrination of Yahshua, the son of David, coming back on the clouds. That kills it. So if that indoctrination is false, that means they have been leading their congregation astray this whole entire time. This whole entire time. Why? Because they would rather hold to the doctrine or to the tablet or their forefathers full of falsehood instead of submitting to the law of Yah. Before they out of their mouths, they always claim, we live by the whole law. We should live by the whole law of Yah. But when laws are presented that either they are probably ignorant of or probably you could just show them plainly, they would reject them laws to hold fast to a doctrine of their assembly. That's why Yahshua said, you hypocrites, full well you reject the law of Yah to hold to the tradition of your elders. Who was he talking to? He was talking to the same congregation that I'm talking to today. They are descended from the same people. This is Israel. Behold Israel. They were always hard-headed, stiff-necked, stiff-backed. They would not listen to the commandments and the laws of Yah. This is the extreme. This is the extent and the theme of the entire Holy Bible, the rebellion of Israel. This is the story of the Bible, and it's even today. Nothing has changed. A person can provide a ministry that's consented in the law and confirmed in the prophets, and it will be rejected for some falsehood that's taught because some person has more influence than another person. My word is rejected because of how I look and probably who I am, because it's different from any other indoctrination that they heard. But this is so the case with every man, upright man of the tablets who had works or ministries. When the sovereign revealed himself to Moses in the name of Yah, he said he came with the charge to Abraham, Ishak, and Isaac to desolate the adversary utterly. That means a person's ministry should be designed to remove any person that does not want to heed to the whole law. And what I present in my works is an example of that charge. I laid that to charge. Not only that, I showed in the tablets where to bring out armed men from prison as protection, not only for the chiefs that are going to be set up, but for the families. Because understand, once all these influential people have been cast out, there's going to be a lot of bad blood, and a lot of people are going to want to try to take shots at them. But y'all will not allow that. That's why the ministry for the prisoners was given to me, and I consented it in the law, and I confirmed it throughout the prophets. I did that. I'm not boasting in myself. Understand, I've been doing this for a long time. It comes as no surprise to me. It's new to you. It's not new to me, and it's not new to those who stole from me. This has been going on for over 11 years now. It's only new to you. That's why I'm calling out these people by name, because I know who they are. I know who they are. And any craftsman or any chief that's from this region or that's in masonry period, they will know that it is true in the words I say. Because in the last 11, 10 years, these same sovereigns or whatnot have only gained more strength. And they came through my works, not their own. And they have lied to their lodges about it. And they have had the chief sovereign consider these works, and they have brought the entire patrimony under the murder cry of Israel according to the law. Now, it doesn't matter if someone disagrees with my ministry. Why? Because I considered it in the law that if you steal somebody's works, lie to your lodge about it, divide it, and have it consented, you have just brought the curse upon yourselves, your lodges, and the patrimony. This is what I have been proving through my entire scroll. My entire scroll was for this very point alone. Judgment against Sam Sanders, judgment against the Hills, and Sean Sanders. because all of them received my tablets. And they even sent this man to work with my mama. Is that a coincidence? January 1st, 2012, my works come through the lodge by Darius Snipes, who is now dead after dropping his wife off at work. I know they use poisons. I just conceded that in Deuteronomy 32. They use poisons. This is what they use. And if you have a sick family member and they just all of a sudden die, beware if you have Levites around them, because that's when they like to attack. If your person has an ailment, they can easily apply their poison and it'll make it seem like that they died from that ailment, but they were actually killed. And what do they do after that? They get your family member in that funeral home, they have their necromancers down there, and they call for that person from the dead and acquire any information that could bring a family down who they are after. This is the extent of the wickedness of the wizards, of the sorcerers, of the witches in Israel, because they exist. It's only righteousness. It's only righteousness when you believe. It was accounted to Abraham because he believed. What did he believe? He believed what he transcribed in the tablets of his forefathers. And it was all according to the law and to the prophets of that time. Why should I believe a man before I believe what God has given me? He has given me enough sense to know how to read and how to discern. I don't need no man to teach me that. I can sit and study. It's appointed to each man individually, my brother, to sit down and to study that law for himself. And I guarantee you, when you start reading that law and you start studying it, and the more laws you know, the more you can read of the Bible and see the laws reflected in them. And that's why I provide these stories to show the laws within them. And I could have provided more laws for these stories, but for the sake of just trying to finish with the topic, I didn't do it.
Yeah. Your sound went out for a second.
Yeah. So, and that's basically, bro, when I'm breaking it down about the town, you got to understand, it's this town, because this is where the tablets came to. And it's not a coincidence that the princes and sovereigns of this town is related to the ones in Riverdale, Georgia that I sent it to. They were both hills. Now you understand. In order to accept this ministry, you have to accept the word of Yah. If you cannot accept the laws that I render, that's despising the word of Yah. That's blasphemy. In order for a person to fully understand what I'm saying, you have to accept the word. I'm not telling you to accept my word. It's not my word. I'm just a messenger. It just so happened I have the gift of translation. I can translate the tablet. It's one manner of law. I showed the manner of law for the lodges. I showed the manner of law for the common people. They are all one. But first of all, in order for things to change, you must go after the lost sheep of the chiefs of Israel. It is the chiefs of Israel that governs this country. It is the Masonic lodges behind the scenes that governs this country. Set up little senators or whatnot. Don't put your faith in these people. These people running for these seats of office. That's nothing but a front. They are front men. That's all. But one thing about these same chiefs, these chiefs Levites, it's evident for itself. Look at the conditions of our people in America. You see, I don't care whether it's in hip-hop music, I don't care if it's entertainment, Hollywood, you hear the stories. Oh, they sold to Illuminati. You know, the Illuminati is right before you. The Illuminati is right here in Waycross. I'm surrounded by the Illuminati, and I'm talking about them. But I am willing to put my neck on the line because I know that it's people out here suffering. And for me, for one thing, I know I'm not even believed by most of my kids' people. I don't have nothing to lose anyway. I don't have shit to lose, but I'm not scared to die. These motherfuckers ain't finna kill my mama and think I'm finna just let it ride. What would I look like? Do I look like a coward? I gotta say something about it because I know who did it, and I know what it's about. But at the same time, I try to remain humble. But sometimes remaining humble is not enough for the wicked. You have to go to war. Why should I remain quiet and wait on them to try to kill my brother or bring some type of death upon somebody I love and I'm not speaking out? I won't do it. Everyone else can remain quiet and let their families continue to be in bond service of servitude and have their children raped by these Levites. I won't. I'll stand up for their families if they don't. That's just the way I am. Because I know that they are probably afraid to speak out or they are bound not to speak out. And that's the thing. The chiefs love to use secrecy and silence. And that's because of all the wickedness they're doing. How do you supposed to keep that which leads one to righteousness? Why should you be quiet about it? Just because this person is a sovereign, if he does wicked, he shall be judged. He is not exempt from the law. None of them are. No judge, no sovereign, no elder. No one is exempt from the law. No one. And if it's allowed, that person who hasn't allowed it, he is just as guilty. He who permits sin transgresses the law. For sin is transgression of the law. This is 1 James. You know the scriptures. If the scriptures does not pertain to the law or to the prophets, just put it to the side. Don't ignore it. Everything must be according to the law and the prophets. If something is executed not according to the law and the prophets and they try to say it's a form of righteousness, don't believe it. They're lying to you. They're lying to you. What I suggest, get you a Strong's Aramaic Hebrew Concordance. An old one, please. Don't get one of these new ones. They done watered it down so bad, they have taken words away out of this book. I'm serious. They have taken words out of this Strong's Hebrew Concordance. Get you an old one. Try from anything later than 1997 or 1996. Anything before that. Anything after 96, 97, don't trust it. These Levites done got their hand to it. But they gotta understand they can't hide nothing. And for the fact, when it says that do a diligent inspection, oh, that means me too. See, it's two sides to every story. I've been slandered for 20 years. I've been told I robbed McKinley Hill, that I did this and I did that, and they done slandered my name and made me look bad. But the whole while, that was a smoke screen for what they were doing. But you see this? You see all of this? This is just a little bit. This is crumbs from my tablet. This is evidence. This is evidence against Sam Davis. This is evidence against the Hill. All of this. It's everywhere. And this is just crumbs from my tablet. I wrote a tablet to bring the entire patrimony into my power from crumbs from my tablet. And I don't even want the patrimony. I want revenge for the ones who stole my tablets. And I done showed where if you consent, if you take a work and you exalt hereby exalt your foolish, this is how they made the chief sovereign over the entire patrimony trespass. They presented him stolen works. And the chief sovereign, through ignorance, consented these works, and he exalted these hills. And they did it at a solemn assembly. And everyone who bare witness to it, and haven't said nothing, or everyone who bare witness to it, just choose to remain silent, they fall under the murder cry too. But because when one chief or one sovereign trespass and his entire family and large could be desolated for it, that means because of deception and because of this conspiracy, the entire patrimony falls into the ministry of Israel. Because if that certain sovereign trespasses, everyone that he beacons falls to the judgment. And that's what this means. For those who don't discern clearly, or haven't been listening or paying attention to the last podcast, because I know it was long, but this is what I have presented. It's plain and simple as I can. Now, understand, all these Royal Art degree Masons and Master Masons, they know exactly what's going on now. Yeah, they know exactly what's going on. But it's those that are in ignorance and have not been enlightened to even the small portions of the knowledge of Masonry and how it connects with the Hebrew faith. It has always been our trade. We have always been builders. You had your nobles and you had your ignobles. This is nothing new, but it is not taught. Why? because these elders and these shepherds, they love to debate, and everyone want to be right. Everyone have their certain tablets, and they gather their assembly, and they're like, this is the truth. Read this, live by this. No, I'd rather stand alone and just let y'all judge me. Give me the law and give me the prophets and let me expound it clearly in the scriptures. And I wouldn't care if it sounds nothing like the King James tablet. It doesn't supposed to. The King James tablet is a Christian tablet. So I would advise anyone, I don't care if they're Nation of Islam, our Islam, Hebrew Israelite, Hebrew, why would you use a Christian translation or rendering of the Holy Tablet to debate or justify your reasoning? When that book wasn't translated for your faith, it was translated for the Christian faith. But you can use that tablet in order to revert it back to its Hebrew form. But you must know the law, and you must have some type of knowledge of the husband. And you know, like I said, I'm not gonna hold you long, brother, but I'm gonna leave it right there.
Shalom, Khan, brother, man. Great presentation by the brother Yisrael, man. Once again, man, another controversial and deep biblical breakdown. Y'all know this brother started this, you know what I'm saying? And he said he gonna end this, you know what I'm talking about? But shout out to Fire Talk Radio, Danya Hoodles the Doc. I see y'all in the building, man. But yeah, man, brother. So can you enlighten us a little bit about the celestial chariots? I know you got into that a little bit. Can you break that down for them just a little bit?
Well,
who's on the matter of fact, tell them who's on these celestial chariots and what they're here to do.
You gotta understand, these are the
you sound low, brother. You sound low.
The cherubim have always been a part of the scriptures. Even if you go back to Genesis chapter 3, when the man of low degree and his master was cast out of the garden, what the Christian rendering, Adam and Eve. And it said that he put cherubim in the garden to guard the way or to guard it. So these cherubim, they are wrapped. We see they're all over the internet today. You see them, you will see a big, what they'll call a mothership, and it's covered with a cloud, and you see lightness coming from it, or and you see small other crafts coming from it or traveling to it. This is the same. This vehicle, those vehicles, those celestial chariots, these are the chief sovereigns. I just revealed it in the scriptures. This is what they travel on, and they've had them since antiquity. But this is hidden from us, and we are just ignorant to it. All we know of are UFOs, or is this? No. Like the movie Black Panther, Wakanda, hidden cities. Yes, they exist, and this is where they exist. Hidden cities in plain sight. There's so much truth revealed in Hollywood, but the thing is, the people who put out that information or put these things out, they know that the majority of people will not believe it anyway, because they are so far gone in their religion or what they've been taught that they would just think it's something else. But our elders, when I say from the East, you got to understand, because of the doctrines that we have presented in the assemblies, in the temples or whatnot, the only focus have been focused on Israel. Israel this, Israel that. But the Holy Tablet, it tells you of all the patrimony tribes, not just Israel. We were just chosen as the holy people because our forefathers was righteous. And the priesthood lies in Israel. And that's why we should be most holy than any other tribe. But all the descendants of Noah, any descendant of Noah is a part of the patrimony tribes, except those that were cursed and cut off. And that were those certain sons of Canaan. So these celestial chariots, that's what they are. This is what the chief sovereign and the elders of Israel and all the other elders of these tribes, this is what they travel on. A cloud during the day, pillar of fire at night. I mean, it's in the scriptures. What we just have to believe is the law. We have to really put away a lot of the ignorance and the falsehoods that we have been taught by our shepherds, because it's misleading. When you believe so much of that, anything else is hard to be accepted, especially when it's new. You understand? It's like the saying goes: the most hardest thing to accept is an unfamiliar truth. It's an unfamiliar truth. It's not because what I'm speaking is not the truth. It's just unfamiliar. But this is what I'm bringing. It's it's considered law. It's considered Torah. It's confirmed prophets, and it's translated. And the work is a righteous work. There's nothing evil about it. It's talking about removing the evil, removing all this homosexuality, all this witchcraft, all this double dealing, all this backstabbing, all this robbery. It's talking about removing that, not only from the people, but from the lodges, so that we can advance and have the blessings that y'all have given us. But you have those that are so content and so arrogant in their positions of power that they'll rather only have it for themselves and the families that with them, and they want to bring the other families into servitude. That is not the kingdom of the honorable men. That is not how it's supposed to work. That is not how.
Con. And you brought up, on one of your old shows, Controversial Deep Biblical Breakdown, about how Masonic lodges are Hebrew Israelite culture, and what you was breaking out in here when they would hear you talking about the lodges. These lodges go back to our culture, just like anything with us, the white man has stolen. So now, basically, what you're saying, these Masonic lodges now are wicked and corrupt with sodomy,
exactly,
sex trade, slavery upon these Masons that are putting other families into slavery, Israelite families at that.
Yes. And see that that's the thing, because a lot of Hebrew Israelite families, it's taught in a lot of temples that masonry is bad, don't believe in that. But the ones that's telling them that are the ones. You feel me? They are the masons, they are the carpenters, they are the master builders, they are the chiefs. And the thing is, it should have always, even throughout what I've been teaching, you will see that the wars that were fought in the Bible were fought by Masonic families. You understand now? It was lodges going against other lodges. When you see the king of Jericho, Jericho was a city. How you going? You know what I'm saying? There's not a king of Waycross, but the word king is translated sovereign. He was you know what I'm saying? He was a sovereign, and that city was under his jurisdiction. He was sovereign over that city, over all the lodges of that city, like Atlanta. If you are sovereign in Atlanta, you're sovereign over those lodges in Atlanta, however many it may be. And if I found fault with you, all I had to do was bring my ministry against you according to the law, and I could bring you into subjection to my ministry. This is how David went against Goliath. When he was explaining to Saul, a governor came and a chieftain, and they took away a leader from the flock, and I pursued after him, and I seized him. See, David had the ministry even for his young age, and at that time he wasn't even old enough to be in the army. He wasn't even old enough to be a husbandman, but because he had the ministry, he was able to come against a chieftain. He was able to come against a governor, just because he had the ministry, because there is only one manner of law for both the common person and for those that's in the lodge. It's only one manner of law. And the man who knows the law and understands the law and can will the law can bring the law and use the law to bring his enemies into a subjection or render them utterly desolate. And this is why they were saying David killed this, Saul killed his thousands, and David killed his 10,000s. How can one man put 10,000 to death? Through the law. Through the law. Because if you can find that sovereign guilty of the crime, everyone under him, according at your discretion, can be put to death. And this is the central theme of the Bible. We've read the stories. Why do you think all of them are flee? Because they know that they just lost the battle. The chief man, whoever, just lost, and everyone's supposed to die by the cutting instrument. And before they wanted to get their ass cut by that cutting instrument, they ran. They fled. And this
now,
is how it works.
Can you explain to them what the cutting instrument is? What the CI, the cutting instrument? Can you explain to that? Because the word sword goes back to the word cutting instrument. Cutting instrument is one of the definitions of sword, right?
Yeah, this is where the word sword comes from. Understand, Israel, the weapons of Israel were bows. They used lances, and the worst of any punishment was one with a cutting instrument. Now, if you listen to the on the podcast, a cutting instrument, it has hooks with teeth on it, and it's meant to flay a person alive. It's meant to tear the flesh from your body. It's meant to tear the flesh from your body. If you were convicted of a crime and the sentence was 40 lashes, you were to be given 40 lashes. So if you survive those 40 lashes, brother, more power to you. And not only,
You ain't got no back left.
but the
You ain't
thing
got no
is,
back left. You ain't got no back left. You survive them 40 lashes with the cutting instrument. That shit gonna take your whole flesh off your back.
With the cutting instrument, believe me, that skin is peeling off. And then it's not only 40 lashes, you gotta understand. For every crime imputed, like for example, when it said if a person lied to his lodge, or a work required treacherously, or taking an oath to deal falsely, or all of those are individual offenses. Each offense carry 40 stripes. So understand, if the chiefs of Israel or these sovereigns of Israel have committed, if I can count, let's just say witchcraft, let's just say lying, stealing, slandering, let's say not loving a brother as thyself, coveting another brother's tablet. Let's say, or that's just 6 right there. Let's just say, or let's add cover up against a sovereign. You know, that's 7 times 4. That's 280 lashes with the cutting instrument. That means you will be beaten until all those lashes are used. And because the offense deals with theft, the theft of a tablet, if you die from your stripes, there shall no blood be avenged for you. That is the law. So you got to understand the tablet that I presented. And if they are in the laws, they know it's a war tablet. I'm going to war. I haven't been calling out these names for nothing. Doesn't it make sense that I wouldn't just keep bringing this matter up or mad about this if it didn't take place? I know my situation better than anyone else. And the ones who committed these crimes know it also. They know it. But I refuse to lay down. That's not in my blood. Everyone else may be afraid of Sam Sanders, Victor Hill, McKinley Hill, and all these people. And as a matter of truth, they should, because these people have murdered people, and the congregation know it. They're so afraid they don't even know if they're next or not. The only thing with me, I know they want my life, but I'm not afraid. I'm right here in their city, in their backyard. But that's something I have to deal with. I'll be damned if I have the knowledge and I have the proof to know that they killed my family, that they murdered my mom and tried to make it seem like cancer. The same shit they gave me. They could have said I had the cancer in 2018. I lost 40 pounds in 4 days when they poisoned me. I had to have emergency surgery in prison. They said one more day and I would have died. And you know what? It was the same amount of time me and my mother had the same condition. And they tried to make it seem like cancer. Yeah, you can make anything seem like cancer or radiation eaten up with that damn poison that I revealed in Deuteronomy 32.
Now let me ask you this right here. Back to those celestial chariots. You said before, I don't know if you said it on this show or the other show, you said that to this day that certain lodges or certain Masons, high-ranking Masons, I'm guessing 33rd degree and higher, have hold meetings on these chariots. Is that correct?
This is where the solemn assemblies are held at. Remember in the podcast I just presented, in the earlier beginnings when I was talking about the sovereign, when he appeared on Sinai in the dark gloomy cloud, and it was fire upon the mountain. He was in his celestial chariot, and Moses went up to it. What about early in the podcast when I was talking about the crimes committed by Benjamin when the priest came through and he cut up his concubine's body in 12 pieces, and they went up to the observatory. What do you think the observatory is? A place that's so lofty that you could observe the rest of the world from it. This was the celestial chariot, and it has enough And it is big enough to hold the whole entire assemblage of the patrimony. And when certain cases are brought up that are too hard to judge amongst the cities, like I rehearsed earlier in the podcast, the judgment must come before the chief sovereign in the place that he chooses. So he decides the place where he want to have this solemn assembly, and he'll send out the crafts to collect all the chiefs, all the nobles, or whoever is called forth to this solemn assembly. And like I just revealed, it will be Israel, the chiefs of Israel, in their lodges, and the chiefs of Levi in their lodges, and the judges who must speak about this, because they've got to come forth. If they say that they haven't stolen my works and I'm claiming that they stole my works, it's got to be investigated according to the law, and it must be done fast, because the longer it takes, it gives them more time to plot, even though they have no win. But that's not the fact. The fact is, the law states, when you have heard tell of it, that you do a diligent inspection. Now, how many, just with a few, I know there's Masons listening to this podcast, how many of them heard tell it and haven't said nothing? That's blasphemy, according to the law. Now you see how the law works? You can't say you keep the whole law and you remain silent about that. So you're just a hypocrite. You keep the laws you want to keep, and you disregard the ones that you feel that has nothing to do with you. And how long have we been doing these podcasts at all? Since December. How many people have came forth and said something, or pulled the coattails of the Eastwood builder, even if they have? None. So what that tell you? These chiefs have commanded their lodges to be silent and shut up. And guess what? Because of that, and because they haven't even inspected diligently themselves with me, and I don't want them to, because I already know that they're murderers, they have violated the law. And they have came under my ministry. That means the whole entire husband of Israel belong to me through my ministry, because I just proved it. They didn't come diligently inspect. They didn't hold no type of assembly to see who stole from the shepherd's work. No works were brought forth, and I have recited this on more than 3 occasions during out the podcast. I try to fail not to sometimes. But guess what? They never heed the law. They're transgressors. It's as simple as that. Cursed is he that do not all the commands of this law. And the congregation shall avouch, so be it. All the words of the law. We are commanded to do all the words of the law. You reject one is enough to get you and everyone you be can kill. And I proved that with Achan of the tribe of Judah, when he stole and he lied about it. One lie, one theft, one sin through ignorance. You can see it through ignorance. You don't even have to know that these people was exalted because of stolen tablets. You can just ride with them feeling you got safety with them. And that's also another thing. That's only one third of the elect. Of all these congregations of lodges, only 1/3, and those are going to be the poor families that stand firm with y'all. The rest of the 2/3, they're too arrogant to believe. They're too proud to believe. They ain't going to accept God's word. It's just like Israel of old. They never accepted God's word. The only time they did is when he sent a judge. When he sent the messenger, they killed him. So when has, throughout the history of the Bible, Israel ever been upright? Read the book of Chronicles and the books of Kings. Read to where when one king died and the other take place, it always reads something like this. And in the such and such year of Asa, king of Judah, such and such king of Israel reigned in Samaria. And he reigned such and such years. And he did evil with that and he did evil according to in the eyes of God. This is what you read through the book of Kings and Chronicles. When you read about the Israel coming out of Egypt, you never read good stories. They were always rebelling. They were always wicked. You will never find Israel upright in the Bible unless a judge came and led them. When that judge died, they went right back to idolatry.
Hey, we got a question out here from the brother Don Yehuda, Fire Talk Radio Podcast. Y'all go hit that subscribe button over there. He want to know, so these so-called holy books that's floating around today, are they all inspired by Masonic lodges?
No. You gotta understand these books, what they call holy holy books.
Get a little
Or
closer.
lost
Get a little
books.
closer to your phone, brother.
Okay, listen. What they call lost books or holy books. Understand when I'm gonna give you an example. When Abraham said he got the books of his forefathers, see, we discriminate against the word of Yah. And we always want to say it's this tablet or that tablet. That's why I say study to show yourself approved. Now, as far as the books, saying that are they inspired by Masonic lodges? No, no. These books of the Bible, these holy books, they've been around for our instruction. They have been around for our instruction. But understand, you do have Masons and teachers that will tell you, oh, don't you don't got to worry about those books. There's nothing there. They are saying that so you won't gain knowledge. Who is man to tell you what you should study or what you shouldn't read? It's up to the individual to read and to study himself. And if that book is according to the law and to the prophets, then you know you have yourself something. If it deviates from scripture, if it deviates from the law and the prophets, you know you have attained work. Especially if they are written by Masons, because they do not stick to the law and to the prophets. You have a lot of works written by Masons, and they have a lot of good information in them. But are they teaching the doctrine? The doctrine is the law. Are they reflecting the law and consent in the prophet, or confirming in the prophets and consent in the law? No. But this was the guideline given us to teach, so that we will be aware of the law, so that we wouldn't trespass and bring a curse upon our inheritance. Understand, when we trespass, when we commit any sin, when we violate any commandment, even in ignorance, we have brought a curse upon ourselves and our patrimony. But we are ignorant to that because it's not taught. But it's right there in the book of Deuteronomy. Cursed is the person that not keep all the words of this law. You are cursed. We are cursed. Because if the priesthood, if the iniquity of the assemblies falls on the priesthood and they are profaned, that means the whole assembly is profaned.
Get a little closer.
We are all worthy of death because we are unclean before the Most High. What happened when Ham noticed the uncleanness of Canaan? Canaan was cast out. ASAP, wasn't he? He went and got 2 witnesses, told his brothers, which is according to the law. If you hear about it and you do not tell it, you're supposed to tell it. He went and got 2 trustworthy witnesses, his brothers. He told them about it, brought them back, and they seen it for themselves. And they immediately seized him and took him before his father. This how fast you're supposed to work, because these men back then, the upright men of the Bible knew that once someone violated, this curse had to be removed quickly, unless a tyrant who had the ministry used that to bring down whatever sovereign or whatever family he wanted to. That's why a diligent inspection is supposed to take place whenever there's a crime or some mention in Israel and it comes to a chief attention. But
yeah, he said, the brother Don Yehuda, Fire Talk Radio, he said he asked because you have a lot of authors who are 33rd degree Masons, and I know I asked the brother Shalom Shalom, and on the first show that he did on the WASPI Bible, I don't know if you caught that, brother Israel, but it's a Bible that
I was working 2 jobs then, bro.
Okay,
I was working 2 full-time jobs. As a matter of fact, I quit one of the jobs just to start back right.
Yeah, no, I'm saying go back and check out the first episode of the WASPI. What is the WASPI? I asked the brother because I said, hey man, so the WASPI, I'm gonna give you a short breakdown. It's basically and you could Google it after it's over. It's basically a white man in 1870 something said that 2 angels came to him and told him to stop eating meat for 10 years. And he stopped eating meat for 10 years. They came back. They told him, all right, get a typewriter. And every morning he wrote like, I think 30 minutes or 2 hours. Every morning the angels told him what to say. He typed down whatever, right? It's a honky, right? And so, so in this WASPI Bible, he basically tells us don't eat meat. The Most High doesn't kill. He's all love. The Israelite isn't the chosen people anymore. And some more shit, right? So basically, basically, I asked him, I said, hey, dude, is that white dude a Mason? And he said, yes, he's a Mason. Now, the other night, it was going in, and one of the brothers over there, it was like, see, Scorn, man, Masons wrote your book. I said, well, Masons wrote the Owaspy. Masons did write that. That dude is a Mason. That white dude that wrote the Owaspy Bible, he is a Freemason. You know, since Shalom told me on the first, what's the name? So I don't know why they keep bringing up Masons right now, but that white dude is a Freemason. And in that Bible, it supposedly says that the Israelites went to North America, but hell, everybody know that if it's written in 1870, son, hell, we came over here and goddamn, I mean, we've been on here for damn near ever. You know what I'm saying? We came in before 1619 because we was already over here coming from boats from Africa from when we got kicked out in 70 AD. We coming back and forth. So I say that because the brother Johnny Huda wanted to know. He was saying many authors wrote, many 33rd degrees Masons wrote a lot of books. And I know for a fact a 33rd degree Mason, that white dude that wrote the Owaspy, he is a 33rd degree Mason. Ask your law shalom for all my Owaspy family that's watching. Ask your leader; he'll tell you that man is a Mason.
This is the thing. Understand? Remember why I was telling you that.
Get closer, brother. All right, there you go.
Okay, but remember when I was telling you that an individual person can have their own tablet or write their own tablet, and this is how it was in the Bible. Remember, this was the whole topic. Now, remember how I said in the introduction that a person's tablet must be according to what? The law and the prophets. This is the only thing that will make it valid. Now, if whatever that book isn't according to the law and the prophets, hey, it's all on you. But this is what I know from the inception, all the way in Genesis chapter 1, we were granted this noble order, and we were granted a tablet. So you got to understand, it's not so much Masons, they use the Bible and write on it so much because they know that is their foundation. They just know that the secrets of Masonry are concealed in this book. It's encrypted, and it must be unlocked. That's why you have Hebrew Aramaic dictionaries. So what they do, they might probably mess around with so many verses, but they'll give you their own interpretation of it. They're not giving you a full breakdown or rundown, because if it's not according to the law and to the prophets, it is no wisdom in it. There's no wisdom in it.
Right. I mean, their whole argument, they think that the Most High doesn't kill. You know, there's no way he'll kill babies. There's no way he'll make the order to go kill women and infants and kids and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm like, damn, don't everything got a balance?
Hold on. Listen, is it y'all killing them? Because y'all say the soul that sins, the person that sins that shall die. And like children, you gotta understand, when people is not walking in the ways of Yah, even their children are subject to the wickedness of this world. Satan is the ruler of this world. Only those who walk in the will of Yah is protected by Yah. And their families is protected by Yah. But you have treacherous people in this world, and they commit treachery. You understand? And that's how it is. So a lot of people can say, you know what I'm saying, this or that, or y'all won't kill. It ain't so much that y'all kill, but he's saying this law is your life. Keep the law and live. If you break the law, then you're subject to any calamities that may befall you.
Well, see, and that's another thing they have. They don't know. They use this thing where they say, "Oh man, y'all are fear mongering." You know, so like we don't supposed to fear the Most High. You know, so fear God and keep His commandments, right? So that's what the Holy Scriptures say. But they say no, don't fear. See, the fear got y'all in captivity. Don't fear.
It. You know what? You know what's it all? The word fear. The word fear. It's word 3,372 in the Hebrew Aramaic dictionary, and it means to revere. It also means reverence. It also means terrify. But it means to reverence Yah, because in the Great Commandment, it says Yah requires you to love Him. Right? It says to love Him and keep His commandments and His laws, and His statutes, and His ordinances. It says to fear Him in the law. It didn't give us a command to fear Him. It gave us a command to love him. Now, by knowing the law, in Deuteronomy 6 and all 4, where it's commanded me to love Yah, why would I trust in the scripture that say, fear him, when the law say, love him? That's when you should go to your Hebrew Aramaic dictionary. And you're supposed to fix that contradiction, because we know in the law that we're supposed to love Yah. So why is it saying fear here? That means the translator put fear there. Now you see what I'm saying? Knowing the law lets you know how to translate. It lets you know how to translate. If we love Yah, why should we fear him? If Yah requires us to love him, not fear him. But when you look up that word fear, you'll see reverence. You feel me? How do we know we love Yah? When we keep his commandments. When you keep in his commandments, you are revering him. It's as simple as that.
Can you show them that Hebrew Aramaic strong concordance you have?
Yes, it's different kind. I have an older one. But this is right here.
Bam. Everybody need to get one of these, because we have to translate, because you got to understand, the white man ain't gonna just type the book out and it gonna be plain things. Some things we got to translate. Some words we got to translate.
Yeah, and you know, and that's the thing, Doc. Because with translations, I'm advanced in it. I've been doing it for a long time, but I didn't start off translating whole passages or partial. I started out translating verses, one verse, where I probably expound on a topic, and I just had a verse. And guess what? I might spend all day trying to translate that verse and found the right words. But I stuck with it until it was according to the law. And guess what? It made sense. So this is not something I just jumped into and started doing. No, man, I had to. It took years for me to get to where I'm at. It was progression. I just didn't jump to where I'm at. I got my first Hebrew dictionary I got in 2006, bro. So that's how long I've been practicing it and studying it and working with it. So it's not something that I just jumped into. I've had time to study and time to implement it. A lot of people haven't, so they wouldn't understand. And like I was telling you one time, I said, man, if any person wanted to really truly understand, or really truly know about my works, they could hit me up and I'll send them something. And I told that to you. But the thing is, I know at the same time you have a lot of spies out there too, and they would love to get those works in their hands. But the thing is, all it will do is curse them, because it comes from my tablet. I already possess it. So if they try to use it and the work comes before both parties and they're found guilty, man, they just laid their lives and the lives of their kinfolks and their lodges on they put their head on the chopping blocks, just like these lodges did.
So, brothers and sisters out there, any lessons that y'all want the brother Israel to do in the future, please let me know. Leave them in the comment section. Go back and check out the brother Israel shows. I'm pretty sure if y'all enjoyed part 1 and part 2 of these, y'all would definitely enjoy the other ones. Some of my favorite ones. The first one he had, the Fallen Angels, the Watchers, and the Anunnaki. That was a pretty good one. The second one I really liked it. Was Freemasonry a part? Was Freemasonry lodges a part of Hebrew Israelite culture? And also, I think the number. Who are white people according to the Bible? Edomites or Canaanites? The brother, know what I'm saying? He's on the same page with a lot of us, like Queen Antefli is the Canaanites. The brother has a lot of good controversial and deep biblical breakdowns, man. And y'all really need to check the brother stuff out. Like, you know what I'm saying? He does a lot of reading, but it's straight from the scriptures, you know what I'm saying? And what they were saying in the comments, they would say they would like for you in future references, read something and in between time, stop and break it down real quick, because so they won't lose focus, you know what I'm saying, in the future.
This is what I suggest is. I suggest we set up a podcast to where we'll because like I told you, we'll set up a podcast where we'll just get a chapter. And everyone have their Hebrew Arabic dictionary. And I'm gonna go word by word and break it down for them. But they just have to make sure that they have their dictionaries with them when we do it. And we'll just set up a day. The dictionary is cheap. And I suggest you go ahead and start ordering them before the prices go sky high. You can get you a dictionary for what, $10, $14. Used one cheaper than that. Because people actually don't know that these books are actually some of the best books you can get as far as understanding the words, you know what I'm saying, and phrases in Hebrew. Because that's another thing. A word in Hebrew can mean an entire phrase.
Con.
Yeah.
Con. So anything y'all want to hear the brother break down in the future, any topics, let me know. Leave in the comments. The brother got some good controversial and deep biblical breakdown series shows on the series. Make sure y'all subscribe to the Scoring Black Man podcast. I'm trying to get the brother to to open up his own YouTube so he could just do some daily lessons. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, for the world to see. You know what I'm saying? But until then, the brother will be right here on the Scoring Black Man podcast. I got to keep him in here like Suge Knight or goddamn Puff Daddy or somebody. Keep him on the contract. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? He's under the Scoring Black Man, you know what I'm saying, label. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, branched off, we got, you know what I'm saying, we got the, you know what I'm saying, like I say, this is like I would say this is more like Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? We got Fire Talk Radio. That's Rockefeller right now. We got Sadak, you know what I'm saying, Israel. He just did a damn a lesson today on the Sabbath. He's like Murder Inc. You know what I'm saying? And they got the brother Israel. You know what I'm saying? He's like we got Rockefeller Murder.
I'm a traveler.
Rough Riders.
I'm a traveler. I move around.
We got Rough Riders. You know what I'm saying? So we got everything on here at the Scoring Black Man podcast, man. And make sure y'all like, subscribe, tune in to future shows, share with family and friends. Once again, this is a controversial and deep biblical breakdown series sponsored by the Scoring Black Man podcast. Fred Jackson, aka Brother Yisrael, part 2, an overview of the tablets of the holy prophets. And I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Big K Judah, Sadak Israel, my man, you know what I'm saying? My man right here, I can never pronounce his damn name. Big salute to that brother right there. Fire Talk Radio, you know what I'm saying? Sister Weezy, Sister Hazel. I mean, hell, who else? Damn, man, I can't pronounce it all year, but you know what I'm saying? Shout out, big salute to everybody. Love y'all all. Y'all know I love y'all, man. Y'all make sure y'all, you know what I'm saying, leave any, like I say, leave what y'all want to hear the brother talk about. You know what I'm saying? K Judah, we know you need you back up next. You know what I'm saying? Anything y'all want the brother Israel to come down and talk about, I love to hear this brother talk because he break everything down and he make you go into that stronger chord. Damn, did that really mean that? Did that really mean that? Oh shit, I'm about to get my shit together. And he makes you get in that. Brother Yash. Brother, y'all don't call him Brother Yash. Brother Yash. But yeah, y'all go and check out, you know what I'm saying, Sadak Israel on YouTube, man. You know what I'm saying? So type Sadak Israel in there. Type Fire Talk Radio podcast. Subscribe to the brother Sadak and brother Dunya Huda, man. Support them. They got some good shorts, some good videos coming. You know what I'm saying? And hey, stay tuned to the Scoring Black Man podcast series. We're about to pump back up. And you know, we got them titles for you, baby. We got them titles. We get a little loose on there. So until next time, big salute. Thank you, K Judah. All praise to the Most High. To all y'all brothers and sisters, may the Most High bless y'all brothers and sisters, bless your households, bless you, brother Yisrael, man. You know, I know you got some more strolls you're working on. You know, I'm ready for you whenever. We can go on at any time, man, and get it, you know what I'm saying, and get it jumping, man. Controversial and deep biblical breakdown series sponsored by the Scoring Black Man podcast. Till next time, peace, love, and hair grease. Shalom.
Shalom, bro.